So basically, I wanted to come online and get the consensus of how people think that wealthy people get wealthy or rich people get rich or you make $1 million. Like, what kind of information is out there for the everyday person to discover how to be financially free? As I mentioned, I work in finance as an advisor, and I help the wealthy of the wealthy stay wealthy. So I came across this video from this random dude, and it wasn't terrible, but I felt like this was the perfect example of good information, just not all the information. So let's listen to it.
So here's the simplest way to become a millionaire. Let's say you already have a job, you're working normal 40 hours a week, and you're able to cover all your expenses. Now you need to get a part-time job or a part-time hustle or something that you can get an extra $2,000 per month. If you're working 40 hours a week and you sleep in 8 hours a night, that's 56 hours per week. That 56 hours of sleep plus the 40 hours of work is 96 hours. You would subtract that from 160 hours in each week, you're left with 72 hours. Even if you just took 20 or 30 of those hours and devoted it to anything than generating income, it could be Uber or DoorDash. You invest that into an index fund, a simple S&P 500 index fund. The average returns of that are about 10% a year. If you every month you put $2,000 into that, in 20 years you'll have over $1.3 million. And by the time you're my age, 40 years old, you'll be a millionaire. It's the simplest way to get rich. I don't know why everyone doesn't do this to make $1 million. If you're 20 years old.
So now, I know you're probably thinking like, wow, that's like really, really good information. And I never knew like it kind of operated like that. Like I can just invest this amount of money and in 20 years I have $1.3 million. Well, let me break it to you. Like life just doesn't work like that. The chances of someone young starting out in their career having an extra $2,000 to invest and leave it invested, I think that is rare, very rare. And then that's also considering like you're not going to go on vacation, you're not going to get a girlfriend, you're not going to buy a house or any of the things necessary for a human being. Not going to eat, So being able to do that consistently for 20 years would be difficult, especially trying to make it from like driving Uber or Lyft or whatever those things are. So that's one of the things I want to talk about. Two, in 20 years, I feel like only shooting for $1 million, like you're lowballing yourself. Like that's nothing. It's literally nothing. People are making that in like a month. People on YouTube are making that in like a year, not even showing their face. So like, I would shoot for something higher. But I think this information is incorrect or not complete because you have to always take into account taxes. So if you made 1.4 mil, right, in a year, Uncle Sam is going to take 37% of that. You're going to be taxed at the highest tax bracket, which is around 37% federal taxes, not including what state taxes are. State taxes are like 8 to 12, 10%. I think in New Jersey it's like 10.75, something like that. So you're already at almost like 50%. 50% of that money is just going to be gone. But let's say 45%. Now you done gave Uncle Sam like $500K. So now you're under $1 million. So when you are considering income and what you can spend, always take into account taxes because we live in America and they tax the absolute out of it. And then you also have to take into account inflation. So yeah, that number may be the number that you started with 20 years ago, but the buying power of that $1.3 million will probably only get you a studio in New York. That's how that works. But yeah, it wasn't bad information, but it also wasn't like super good information as well. I give like a 6.5.